It's day 410. I'm jogging 3 kilometers every single day. Hey, a tire.
Along with conditions like being sufficiently challenged, in order to enter the flow state, you need to be actively focused on a task for a long stretch of time. What's interesting is that electrocorticography studies have shown that the default mode network reactivates within an order of a fraction of a second after people disengage from a task. The monkey mind is ready to spring to action the moment you stop paying attention. Now, not being in the highly enjoyable hyper-focused flow state is one thing, but another consequence of the default mode network-induced mind wandering is simply a state of unhappiness. A 2010 paper by Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert describes how they developed a smartphone app that would randomly ping people throughout the day and ask what they were doing and how happy they were. Based on almost 250,000 queries posed to about 5,000 people from 83 different countries, they found that people are thinking about what is not happening almost as often as they are thinking about what is. And doing so typically makes them unhappy. The title of the paper is "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." So, what can we do about this? Well, meditation has been shown to be a great way to lower activity in the default mode network and turn down the inner chatter that comes with it. Yale psychiatric professor Judson Brewer and his colleagues studied practitioners of several different meditation styles and found that their brain's default mode network shows less activity. This was true, of course, during meditation, but there was less activity even when they weren't doing anything. With meditation, they actually changed their brain's standard mode of operation to be less distracted. This seems reason enough to meditate, but meditation has an almost laughably long list of health benefits. It lowers your levels of stress hormones, lowers your blood pressure, boosts your immune system, mitigates depression, anxiety, ADHD, and age-related cognitive decline. It can even help with things like psoriasis and irritable bowel syndrome. There are hundreds of studies documenting these kinds of benefits. Tim Ferriss says more than 80% of the world-class performers I've interviewed have some form of daily meditation or mindfulness practice. He also says that it is a meta skill that improves everything else. There are various types of meditation, but they mostly have one thing in common: that the faculty of voluntarily bringing back a wandering attention over and over again is the very root of judgment, character, and will. An education which should improve this faculty would be the education par excellence. And it seems that the more we unconsciously let our attention be directed and redirected, the less aware we become of the fact that it is happening. In ancient times, having power meant having access to data. Today, having power means knowing what to ignore. In general, most forms of meditation are helping you to develop something called mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. For example, a common method of meditation is to sit upright in a comfortable position and focus on the feeling of your breath. Then, when you notice that your mind has wandered, bring your attention back to the breath. Paying attention non-judgmentally means to pay attention only to the raw sensory data of the breath. Naturally, your inner narrator will have you think about things like whether you're breathing too fast, how much time has passed, and before you know it, you'll be thinking of the way Darth Vader breathes, James Earl Jones, and The Lion King. At this point, you should redirect your attention back to the breath. It can be annoying to notice that you are unsuccessful in maintaining your focus, but this is the whole point. This redirecting of attention is like a bicep curl for the brain. As Dan Harris, author of 10% Happier, puts it, you are breaking a lifetime habit of walking around in a
fog, in a daydream of projection into the future and rumination about the past, and you are actually focusing on what's happening right now.
Not only this, meditation allows you to sit in the experiences of life without letting them control you. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. One thing meditation does is it helps you to be comfortable sitting in this space. Judson Brewer gives an excellent example of this. He explains in a TEDMed talk based on a 2011 study of his that mindfulness training was twice as good as gold standard therapy at helping people quit smoking. The participants weren't even told that they couldn't smoke. They simply had to be mindful and curiously aware of the experience of smoking. As Brewer says of one participant,
what she discovered just by being curiously aware when she smoked was that smoking tastes like shit.
More importantly, the participants were told to be as aware and mindful as they could about the sensation of craving a cigarette. They noticed that the experience of craving a cigarette was just body sensations, tightness, tension, restlessness, and they learned to detach themselves from these feelings. Meditation allows you to better focus your attention to your experiences and be okay with not acting on every uncomfortable feeling in your body. Just because you're irritable doesn't mean you must have a cigarette. Just because you're hungry right now doesn't mean you need to eat low-health, high-convenience foods. And you don't need to respond to every slight feeling of boredom by checking your phone all the time. If you spend some time sitting in the space between stimulus and response, you'll notice that that space is only as uncomfortable as your inner narrator makes it.